Thanks for joining us on our comic book coffee break. I'm Nick Gunning.
I'm Eric Mickles, known online as Dusk versus Tweak. With me today is
Today I'm
Nick
drinking
Gunning.
regular. That's me. And I'm drinking Dunkin' Donuts coffee, which I like and my wife doesn't like.
But your wife is kind of a
One
coffee
of those
snob.
things. I would say connoisseur.
Okay,
I would say
connoisseur.
connoisseur.
Snob was
But you,
is
you
too.
went right for snob. It was harsh. Yeah. This show is not brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts, though. It's brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network.
If Dunkin' Donuts wants to support us,
That's your line.
that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean,
Radio
we'll take it.
Meanwhile
I'm
could
not
run
going
on
to turn it
Dunkin's.
down. I've said that before. It could.
Yeah,
it
Radio
could.
Meanwhile is not above getting paid.
No.
At the moment, we're not below getting paid either.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can find more about the show and others like it at the network's website, radiomeanwhile.com.
.com.
Nick?
That's right. Let's talk comic books. But I need to clarify something with you. Now you know the premise of the show.
Mm-hmm.
There's not confusion about that. You know what the premise is, right?
Yeah.
Where we read comic books and then we talk about the comic books that we read in the week. Okay, so
Yeah.
All right. So what did you read this week?
I'm right now halfway through a Batman graphic.
Comic book wise.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's like how you're ending the week. How do we start the week? How do we start the
I
week
haven't
strong
read
comic book wise?
anything. I used my
Wow.
Monday lunch break to read a young adult Star Wars book that made me realize I might not like Star Wars anymore. And then
It's been a long time coming on that for you.
maybe. And then I used my second lunch break for like a job interview. So
Oh, how'd it go?
I don't know. So I didn't
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. So I didn't use use my lunch breaks, and then
Okay.
yeah, I just haven't read anything.
No, you don't have to explain yourself to me. That's perfectly all right. This has happened once before where you had either a completely empty week or you read like one thing.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
This one I was trying to finish.
Early on.
I'm trying to read like 3 books a month, and so I was because it's a shorter month. I was cruising through the last 2 books I had to read. I'm like, I gotta finish these. So
yeah.
Also, Hoopla, my Hoopla, only allows for 6 checkouts during the month.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I couldn't finish Lucifer this week. I gotta wait until tomorrow to check out Lucifer Volume 5.
My library has Live Ear Overdrive, and it's historically been terrible with graphic novels, but it's like on fire with graphic novels lately. It's cool.
You can read Lucifer.
I like it. It's got. I don't think it has Lucifer. Well, I haven't checked, so maybe.
Lucifer.
Look. I read a lot, not to rub it in your face. I wasn't like If Eric's not gonna read any, I'm gonna read so many. Mostly it was because I was in a real Superman high, and so I read a lot of Superman this month.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff I read for work, and some of the stuff was just random things that I got into. So shall we? What's your preference? Would you like me to start with Marvel or DC this week?
Just start with whatever.
Oh, okay. No preference. Okay, cool. Then I'm gonna start with Luke Cage Noir by Mike Benson. How are you? I feel like you've read more of these noirs than I have. Which ones have you read?
I read the X-Men ones.
Really?
And
well, that's the only one I read.
That might be it. I'd have to check.
Okay.
Maybe.
I thought for sure you read Spider-Man.
I don't think I did. I'm not even sure I read the Daredevil one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't think I was really like into these because I heard they weren't great. And then the X-Men one was fine.
Well,
yeah.
So the X-Men one was written by Fred Van Lente, and we read that because we were interviewing him both for the All the Book Show, and you interviewed him for previously on X-Men, so you can go find those in their various homes. That one, X-Men, I feel like we both were on the same page that it was like a decent detective story, but it was like a find and replace with X-Men names. Like it didn't really seem like the X-Men at all. Wasn't that the vibe you got?
Yeah. None of the characters felt like themselves.
Right.
Which was the thing. So it wasn't even like,
well,
what would Wolverine be like in the Noir setting? I'm like, I don't know. He wasn't
exactly.
in here really.
No, just a guy named Wolverine was pretty much it. And talking to Fred, we learned that he doesn't really like the X-Men, so that made perfect sense. I was actually pleasantly surprised with Luke Cage then, because I didn't have a good feeling from X-Men, but I read this, and this just played really well, like a detective story. It felt like a detective novel from the 70s. Like it really worked well. So I enjoyed that quite a bit. So I would say if X-Men left a bad taste in your mouth, Luke Cage is worth the read and was pretty good. Pretty good overall. So I would recommend that one. Do you think you'll ever revisit these? It seems like Daredevil's a perfect fit for this kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to look up which ones I've read, if any,
Okay.
while also blocking Lisa Booth on Twitter. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's just the X-Men Noirs.
Just X-Men. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I thought you'd read all the Spider-Mans. I don't know.
No, I
All
did
right.
not.
Um, in disappointing Marvel news, and I don't know why I did this to myself, but I read a good Luke Cage story in Luke Cage Noir, and then I read a terrible Luke Cage story by finishing off Brian Michael Bendis' New Avengers run. This was volume 5.
Mm-hmm.
It was mostly a magical story, like with Brother Voodoo and Doctor Strange, which to me was kind of I don't know, just out of left field a little bit for the series, and ends on a pretty pivotal moment for Doctor Strange, and I thought that was kind of strange to happen in New Avengers. That something that big would come out of New Avengers, but
Yeah, he didn't have a ongoing at the time.
oh, okay, well then maybe it makes sense. I don't know. This series to me was bad from the beginning. It was just kind of all about Jessica Jones and Luke Cage having this like weird domestic. Only it was like a '90s sitcom sort of weird domestic. It was like Everybody Loves Raymond, but it was Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, and it just never played for me. And because of that, like Luke is meant to be the leader of that run, and it just felt like there was no center ever because he was always like, Jessica, I gotta go get diapers, and she's like, hurry back. It was not a good use of either one of those characters, and I would have stopped it a long time ago, but it just kept connecting with the other things I was reading, Avengers versus X-Men or whatever. Like there was too much pulling it back in, so I finished it. I probably wouldn't have, but I was like, oh, I only have one more left, so I put the nail in the coffin of Brian
Yeah,
Michael Bendis'
this
Avengers.
I don't remember how I felt about this one, but yeah, his whole time in the Avengers was rough. Really, like
It
you
was
had that one high moment where there was a prison breakout at the very beginning.
yes, it started really strong. Like the his Avengers arc, I feel like
Yeah,
started really strong,
and then
and the main title did okay, but I don't know. New was horrible. I just didn't like that at all.
yeah,
So
I guess
I
I
don't know. I don't
read.
know that this is a title that I'd follow
Mhm.
any other way.
Sorry, man.
So
I did
that's all right.
not. Yeah, I don't know how long Brother Voodoo stayed Doctor Strange or the Sorcerer Supreme. I don't
Yeah,
think long.
yeah. Well, I mean, spoiler alert. This is kind of the change in that dynamic happens within these pages. So cool costumes, but it was just kind of a weird, like Captain Marvel magic story in the pages of this book that wasn't really about that. So,
Mhm.
just a bizarre way to end. Over in DC Comics, when I was reading Superman, like every issue had an ad that was just like Bendis is coming, and it started to feel like a threat.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
like I think they were trying to get you pumped up, but it felt a little bit like enjoy it while you can, because Bendis is coming. And I got like early like advanced copies of those like review copies of Action Comics and Superman by Bendis that I read forever ago, and I feel like I just need to go and read them again because I fully don't remember what happened in those. But I did close out both Superman and Action Comics in the lead up to Bendis coming. Have you read any of these this era?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, I would need the app to commit to Superman right now.
Yeah, I mean, even though they're both Superman titles, they managed to stay in their own lane pretty well. I think Superman tends to be a little bit more father and son kind of stories with Superman and Superboy. And and Lois, the three of them kind of living out on this farm. It tends to stay pretty strictly to that, while his Action Comics tended to be more of a Daily Planet, Metropolis centric sort of stories, more traditional Superman kind of stories, I guess. Um, Neither one of them, I guess I would lean more towards the Tomasi Superman title, but it's atypical because, it's father son stuff for the most part, but it still has like the look and feel of Superman for the most part. Whereas I feel like Action Comics just wouldn't stop with the whole I'm the Superman from another world,
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff that just really
I wish
it
I
got
could
old.
trust you. Like, I
Exactly.
trusted him, but we're just too
So
different.
yeah, so I finished up with volumes 6 and 7 of Superman, and yeah, I mean, I think it does come to a satisfying conclusion. I think it was pretty well received. I mean, I heard good things about it, didn't
The
you?
Bendis run?
No. Like the Tomasi stuff leading up to
Oh,
it.
like the fate of. Is this the stuff that had the fate of the New 52 Superman kid, or no?
I think that was more in Action Comics,
Okay,
but
then no, I heard nothing about this. I don't think.
okay, all right. Well, they're both. I think if you're a Superman fan, you probably got to read it. Nothing about either Action Comics or Superman really like stirred much in me as a Superman fan. So I don't know. Sometimes when Bendis is just writing a single character, it's better because it's not just like all thought balloons all the time. But I don't remember. I don't remember really how those stories go. So I'll probably reread those again. Did you read the big Action Comics 1000 collection that came out?
No, I haven't because of me not being caught up. I think I can with Batman soon.
I don't think it matters so
Oh,
much. I mean, they were mostly just out of continuity stories. I didn't. I mean, it's always cool to see the different, art styles kick in. And that was one thing that was cool about New Avengers, actually. Because it was magic, like every page was a completely different art style. That I actually found very cool. And same thing in Action Comics here. Like it was fun to look at. It was fun to see some of the more classic Superman designs going through. But I didn't think it was as successful as the like the Robin collection that came out a while ago.
yeah.
I
My library has
so
both the Superman and the Batman one, but
yeah.
I think like one of the Batman comics I have has like goes up to 1,000, but then skips it because you got to get the special edition thing. So
Oh yeah,
yeah, man,
yeah.
I
I'm
haven't read
definitely not that far in Batman.
I haven't read a Superman in forever. Grant Morrison wrote
Did you read
Superman.
it?
Oh yeah, he
Yes.
wrote the New 52 Action Comics. A duh.
Yeah.
All right, well then the
Yeah.
last real Superman stories I read were forever ago. It was like the Man of Steel, which was the first Bendis thing.
Okay.
The Men of Tomorrow, and Superman Unchained. So it
Oh
has
yeah.
been a bit.
Superman Unchained was a lot of fun, but it was canceled, and so it just kind of comes to a screeching
Yeah,
halt,
yeah,
which was unfortunate. Let's stick with Superman for a minute here. I read a very odd Superman story. It was a Tom King Superman called
yeah. I didn't know
Superman
this
Up in the
existed.
Sky. It looks like it was a digital first a couple of years ago, and then it was collected like in issue forms and in a trade for comic stores not that long ago. It's it's ostensibly about Superman trying to rescue a little girl who was kidnapped by aliens, but it's much more a look at like Superman's goodness and like what it takes for Superman to be Superman, but in a really sloppy way. Like it tonally is kind of odd. Like there's people are like, you got to go save this girl, and he's like grappling with leaving Lois and leaving Earth for a while because he's got to be like out, off in space, and so that's kind of serious. But then when he's in space, it's like he's waiting at this big like telephone booth in space trying to call Lois, or one issue he's in like a boxing match with some alien, and he's got like Superman boxing shorts, and so it was so weird.
Yeah. All right.
And by the
I
end of
gotta
it,
check
when he
this out.
finally is reunited, yeah, you might like it. It might be your kind of
I don't
thing.
know. Tom King
I
is.
normally would like that.
Mm-hmm.
Hit and miss.
Yeah, he is. He is
So,
hit and miss, but also
yeah.
usually not even hit, just like weird. Like, is the weirdness
Yeah.
interesting enough, or is it just weird? That's how Tom King
Well,
is
that's
normally for me.
that's the thing. It's like at the end of the day, I just don't really even know how to describe it. I'm not 100% sure what the goals are, but I feel pretty confident that the goals like weren't met. Though it seemed like it had decent reviews on Goodreads and things, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Are you still doing your CW rewatch, or where did you leave off with that?
It's
Legends?
CW watch. We're not rewatching
Yeah.
anything.
Oh,
No,
right,
we're
right,
in
right, right.
we're just in the middle of Flash and Arrow at this point. I caught up with Supergirl and Legends.
Okay.
I can watch Black Lightning. But yeah, we're still on the DeVoe arc and Flash and the Michael
Yeah,
Eisenberg.
yeah.
What's his name from Lost?
Oh. Oh, yeah. I don't know.
All right.
I know
Well,
who you mean.
him slash the Joker from Dark Knight Returns is in
So
there.
you're 100% on Supergirl. Like everything that's out you've seen.
No. I finished season 3 of Supergirl. I'm keeping it in
Oh,
line so
okay.
I
All
can
right.
watch
You're
the.
like you're leveled off.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you now.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I keep meaning to start Black Lightning and we just haven't. Like
Black
this
Lightning.
I we stalled on Marvel's Runaways. We were watching that pretty regularly.
Mm.
And I mean, of course, keeping up with WandaVision. But right now, I think it's mostly just WandaVision, Batwoman, and Superman and Lois. Which just debuted, which we can talk about in a minute. But I don't know that we'll go back to Supergirl. I would like to finish Flash. I feel like Flash is a show that's best binged. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like it's
Well,
one that's
Captain
it's not.
Leonard Snart would say Flash is a show best served cold.
Did you see Grant Gustin's all cut now?
No, good for him.
That's the latest. That's the latest.
Did he
I
get
know.
any muscles in
I
his
know he
neck, or does
managed.
it just keep extending out?
Yeah, it just keeps going higher. It just keeps going higher. Yeah.
So
Um.
Tom King's Superman, a weird choice, I think, for Superman, but
Yeah.
you will want to skip it, or you've read it, but you would suggest skipping it.
Superman up in the sky.
Yeah,
Is that what you're asking?
yeah.
I don't. I don't know. I guess I don't really know who I would recommend it to. I could actually see you kind of getting into the weird vibe of it. I think it might actually work for you. It just I don't know. It wasn't what I was looking for at all. I guess I was looking for a more classic Superman story, and this was definitely like, let's do something weird with Superman. So, you know, I wouldn't mark it high.
Okay. Well, I'm just thinking if I want to like, he's been so like blah for me lately. I don't
It's
even know if
quick.
it's
I
worth.
mean, it's 6 issues. I mean, it's a really short run, and it's completely self-contained. So, I mean, I think you'd be fine to read it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I read a little more of the uncollected Firestorm that I've been going through. This was about, I don't know, issue 17 through, I think, 22. And then I'm caught up to the one collected volume. That'll be
For
next.
Infinite Crisis.
This was a lot of, yes, this was a lot of, like Infinite Crisis preludes were in here. So there was an OMAC and like a Villains United and a couple of Infinite Crisis crossover. So it was kind of hard to read because
I
of that.
read 2 of those at the time. I read Villains United and OMAC.
Okay.
I think. What were the other? It was the Spirits of Vengeance and the Rand Thanagar War. That were the 4 miniseries.
Yes.
That
That was, and there was also a connection with that too.
Yeah.
So I was only vaguely familiar with that stuff. So it really kind of, I don't know. It didn't really work reading it just issue by issue as I did. What's kind of disappointing is it starts so promising with him merging with like whoever's nearby. Like that was just leading to some really unusual pairings and unusual stories. By the end of this, he's remerged with Martin Stein, and I just couldn't care less. So, I'm like 10 issues away from just finishing this series.
Right.
So I'm not gonna stop. But the thing that attracted me in the beginning was that weird merging with randos. I really
Right.
that was a cool thing to explore
Yeah.
character wise. So
You like a Tinder Firestorm.
I do. Yeah. Yeah, well said. Well said.
I don't remember his role in Infinite Crisis at all.
No, I don't remember it either.
For this build-up.
The main crossover here is he's paired up with Donna Troy, and I feel like I should remember that, and I just do not. So
Yeah, nothing.
who knows? Because I read and loved Infinite Crisis, but I can't remember. So I don't know. I read 2 random things, and then let's talk a little Superman and Lois. But I finished out the March series, John Lewis's March
Did you finish
series.
Talking
Volume.
Superman?
I think so. Yeah.
The one oh wait. Because you talked about Bizarro universe? Bizarroverse?
Oh, I mean, I guess I talked about it in broad strokes,
Yeah.
but the Peter J. Tomasi, the last volume of that is a Bizarro universe story, and it starts with like Bizarro Boy reaching out to Superboy, and then it's a whole thing where Bizarro it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like reinventing Bizarro a little bit, but then the series ends, so I don't really know if anything's going to become of it, because it ends with Bizarro Boy just sort of being in the regular world as sort of a supporting character. I don't know if that was ever touched like after this Tomasi run. I haven't heard of that coming back, but I I don't know. It didn't really do much for me, but the final stories in that collection were pretty decent. So that's what I was saying. It comes to a pretty good end in it.
Okay.
But anyway, so March, did you finish March, or have you only read the first volume, or what of that series?
I've only read the first
Okay.
one.
I feel like the first volume, it's hard because I mean the story is so important and so crucial, and putting it in a graphic novel is just like a brilliant move. So I sort of feel like this should just be a required reading, period. I feel like volume 3 suffers a little bit though from like there's so much of the story left and we've only got one more volume, so it's thicker than both of the others.
Mm-hmm.
And there are pages where it just feels like yes, there are some images, but it kind of stops being a graphic novel for I feel like a fair amount of this story. So I would have liked to have seen it fleshed out into a fourth volume, really, because this, as just reading this as a graphic novel, was a little bit of a like, whew. And it's a heavy topic anyway. So like, you're reading that heavy topic and kind of losing the graphic novel aspect of it, I feel like takes away from it a little bit. So, but I do highly recommend all 3 volumes. I think it's great.
Okay.
And finally, these I didn't like these at all, but over on How's Things, we were doing a spotlight on the author Briggs, and I'd read one of her graphic novels. So her main series are Mercy Thompson and Alpha and Omega, and I read one Mercy Thompson graphic novel forever ago, and it was fine. And then I read, just for this podcast, the first 2 volumes of Moon Called, which is an adaptation of the first book. It's fine. She's like a magical character who can turn into a coyote, and then there's this whole thing with vampires and werewolves and a lot going on. So it's an urban fantasy series. The graphic novel to me feels like it's written exclusively for people who are already fans of the character in the series, because it's, even though it's an adaptation of the first novel, it's not really a good introduction to the characters of the series or the world. So I would say if you're a fan already, then check it out. But if you're not, I don't think this is a good window for you. So, but I read it. We had something to discuss on the podcast, so I can't complain.
Yeah, I got nothing to add about this. I haven't read. I get confused between Feehan and Briggs and everybody in the romantic werewolf genre.
Well, that's fair. That is fair. Yeah, those 2 authors.
Yeah.
Do kind of intermingle in my mind.
Who's this wolf she's carrying on the cover?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. No, I do know, but I can't tell you. It'd be a spoiler.
What?
It'd be a spoiler.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Is it her?
I can't tell you.
Husband?
I can't tell you.
Is it her father?
I really can't. I'm sorry.
Wow. Okay.
It would just be too much of a spoiler. Do you want to talk a little bit? No, it's not her son. It's not her son. You want me to tell you? It's a like a runaway kid who comes, and she like protects him, takes him in as like, a refugee from this like West Side Story-esque rumble going on in the werewolf world, and that's kind of how she gets dragged into this bigger, grander story.
So it wasn't a spoiler. You just didn't want to talk about Patricia Briggs anymore.
No, I mean, I guess it kind of, because you don't know that the kid's a werewolf when you first see him, so it's a bit of a spoiler.
Okay.
So, but that's who it is. So if you're interested, I can hook you up, because I had to buy these from Barnes and Noble to have something to add to this podcast. So
thanks,
I own. No.
No, it's all right.
Please, that would be my pleasure.
Thanks,
I would love to send it your way.
No, I don't need it.
Do you want to talk about Superman and Lois?
Sure.
Because I texted you about it. Crickets. I got no response.
I forgot it came out that week. Your text reminded me that it was that week. I guess I just lost track because it was on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I guess like you texted it and I was like, wait, what week is it? It's out? Did I miss it? Is it still on CW? So I've been a fan of this version of Superman since he first debuted in Supergirl, and I honestly didn't really think that they were gonna do a Superman show, and it seems like it had been enough years since his first debut. It felt like if they were gonna do it, they'd do it. So I was kind of surprised when they finally announced it, and then I was a little hesitant when I saw that it was about them raising teens. I just was sort of like, I don't know about this, and I haven't been 100% sold on this Lois Lane, as I've mentioned in past episodes. But I will say she kind of won me over in this pilot. What did you think of the pilot, kind of coming into it? Well,
the way you did.
coming into it, I had looked up both their ages because I saw somebody say like there's a big age gap between the two. I'm like, how big of an age gap? And then I found out that Tyler, whatever his name is,
Hoechlin, I think, I'm not sure.
He is 33 years old.
Yeah,
which makes him younger than me. Which means
I'm older than you. So think about that.
The Superman on TV is now younger than I am, and that well, this is my last show of anything because I'm gonna go find the ocean and just walk into the sea. I'm done. I've grown tired of life.
Slightly older than that. I'm pretty sure that I'm older than Henry Cavill.
Oh my gosh! Don't tell me that. He looks.
Yeah, I think so.
I can't.
No, he is older than you. He is older than you.
Oh,
I think he was born in '83 after me.
I can't handle the fact that I'm watching a Superman show and he's younger than I am. Because I'm like, oh yeah, it'd be nice if Superman was my dad.
Yes, but remember, he's playing young. He's playing younger than because he's not aging as quickly as everyone else.
Yeah.
So he's meant to be older.
Yeah, he definitely, because he has 2 teenage kids. Because I'm like, well, if he was playing his actor's age, he would have had to start having his first kid around 15.
Yeah.
So it is a confusing timeline because him and Lois meet, and then they get married, and then they have kids, and now their kids are teenage. So how long have they been together / have they met? How old are either one of them supposed to be?
15 years, basically.
Yeah. It's a bit confusing.
One thing that was I just kind of like let it wash over me, but it's very confusing with what's been set up regarding Superman and Lois in the Arrowverse. Like where you leave off with Superman and Lois in the Arrowverse makes zero sense. That this is where they are in life and with kids and everything. I think they're just kind of starting fresh because I noticed like Morgan Edge is in Supergirl, and it's definitely not the same actor. And I feel like General Lane is also a different actor. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
No,
but
it is. Yeah,
I feel
they're both
okay. I feel so. There's some recasts and just some difference overall. But what did you think? What did you think of the pilot?
Well, I was about to say another problem talking about like timelines and stuff is that with WandaVision, we see her dad bring home some TVs on DVD, and that includes Malcolm in the Middle on DVD. But that scene should be taking place in 98 and 99. Malcolm in the Middle didn't come out until 2000.
Oh.
And so there's no reason there should be a DVD box set of Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
Didn't even go on sale until 2002.
You got him.
So.
You got him.
Anyway, I'm getting all these superhero shows in their timelines. They got to work it out.
I know. They really do.
What was your question before I snarkily complained about Malcolm in the Middle DVD?
No, just your general takeaway from Superman and Lois. What did you think of it?
I guess part of me is like, as it was going on, I'm like, I just want a Superman show where Superman is just fighting Bizarro and Brainiac and Metallo, and he's in Metropolis and stuff. But at the same time, that feels like it needs to be different in order to stand out from other CW shows. Because, I mean, Supergirl could be taking place in Metropolis, and it really wouldn't change anything.
No.
So, I guess to, like, stand out, it kind of has to do this stuff.
I mean, that's how I felt, too. I mean, it's there's nothing about it that you could accuse of being, like, a typical Superman story. I don't think we've really on screen seen a Superman story like this, and I think that's cool. Though I've got to say, in the very beginning, you've never seen Superman 3, but in Superman 3, there's a big like meltdown at an outdoor. It's not a nuclear place, but it's like some outdoor factory. There's a big fire that's out of control. And Superman goes and he freezes a lake, and he drops the frozen particles of the lake on this big like industrial fire. And so when Superman uses that same technique in the beginning of Superman and Lois, I was like, I see you. I see you, Superman 3.
That's funny.
So I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah, the nuclear
overall,
scene was fun.
I was into it.
He did a whole thing with ice breath and his heat vision, so it wasn't just like a punchy Superman powers.
Yeah.
Supergirl kind of has a habit of very, like, everything is punchy. Everything is just everybody standing around punching each other, even though they should be punching each other through, like, buildings.
True.
So it was nice to see Superman be like, oh, I can't punch this. All right, I'll just freeze some water
I know.
and drop it in.
Well, later on, and we'll avoid spoilers, but later on when he's grappling with somebody who's powerful and they're sort of like flying through the air fighting, he does like a blast of freeze breath and a blast of like heat vision in the villain's face. And I was trying to think, like, have we ever really seen that? Have we seen Superman fight in that way? And I can't think of a time. Can you?
No, I mean, not in the Snyderverse, which can go to hell. But no,
I just thought it was really unusual, and it was a small thing, but I was kind of like both surprised and impressed that they managed to like do something, even a nuanced thing like that I truly don't think that I've seen before. So I liked that. I liked that a lot, and I really like his Superman portrayal.
Yeah, though it's only like 2 scenes of the Superman
where he's
portrayal.
actually Superman.
Yeah.
I guess I mean the whole shebang, the whole package.
I was just kind of like surprised
I just
by
like
that. When he jumped into the Superman outfit near the end. I was like, oh my gosh, it has been a long time since we saw him in this very episode.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's true. It's true. But I loved the nods to the Action Comics and that Max Fleischer.
Yeah, the original costume was fun. The one that he says his mom made for him. I was like, wow. I mean, it looks dorky in live action, but it was still cool to see that. And as he like lifting the car down, I was like, that's fun.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I thought it was really fun, and I'm ready for that pop figure whenever they want to make it. I mean, I'll buy it.
It's still pretty funny that we're like, we've seen Superman, and then he takes off his glasses, and you just imagine the kids being like, Superman.
I know.
What'd you do with their dad?
I'm glad that wasn't it. Like when he took the glasses off, I was like, please don't have them realize it. But yeah, I thought the same thing.
Like, how many times his dad walked to the bathroom or something and without the glasses? I was like, wait a second, is Superman staying in our house?
Boy, I'll tell you one thing: Lana Lang cannot catch a break. You know?
Oh my gosh,
rough.
I was thinking about this morning. It's like you can make. I don't know. Lana's husband is just a jerk, and I don't know if we're supposed to sympathize for him at all, or if that's the plan going on, but I hate him. And then
I agree.
Lana's daughter has a boyfriend, and after like the way he acts, I'm like, why are you with this guy at all?
I know.
Is this whole town just trash people?
That's another thing, though. That's another thing, because I was trying to think, like, have you ever seen Smallville portrayed as anything but like this, like 1950s, throwback kind of town? This is the first time.
Don't forget, Smallville had Fast and the Furious car racing going on in
that's true.
in that town, so they were a little modern.
You're right, but whenever you see the talent or downtown in the Smallville series, it's always pristine. It's always looking good. Yeah. This is the first time we've seen like true methy Kansas, like in all of its splendor. So
when Lana's daughter,
I thought that was interesting.
People dying in a meth fire in Smallville.
Like,
why does anyone live here? Move out.
I know. But I think that's cool. I don't know.
It's Lana's husband again, who was like, people were supposed to go off, learn things, and then come back and give to the town. I'm like, shut up, you self-entitled prick. I hope Superman. This is the kind of stuff that makes me want Superman to fly up very high and then fly back down very fast.
Yeah.
Probably good I'm not Superman. Here's my issue with watching Superman.
Yes, okay.
Here's my issue with watching this type of Superman in 2021.
Yes.
I see him being Superman and he's being good, and it just makes me hate the real world. Because I'm just like, well, yeah, it's nice that Superman is good again instead of just like an angry, mopey Superman and stuff.
Yeah, he's not dark and broody or anything.
But the real world sucks. I feel like it takes away from me enjoying Superman because it just feels even further from reality. I don't know. He was flying. Flying to go to the. I think it was to the first thing, and I just saw him flying and was like, "Oh, this is Superman. He's doing Superman things." But there's something like hopeful. I can't handle hopeful stuff in movies and shows right now because I'm like, no, I don't. There's none of that anymore. Doesn't matter. Life sucks.
The relationship between Sam Lane and Superman was also another thing that I don't think we've ever seen before.
Even because in the comics. It's usually like a General Ross Hulk situation.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. So that was another thing that I thought, like, okay,
isn't that
showing me something different?
Wasn't that a big thing in Superman Unchained too? And that's not even that long ago. Yeah. It's always adversarial, and like Lois is always like not having a good relationship with her dad, having to like break out because he's it's not good. So, the fact that it was Superman and Lane hanging out together, like they get along more than Lois and her dad. I was like, this is weird.
There's been a thread on Batwoman, because originally Batwoman and Superman and Lois were meant to cross over this year, and that was scrapped because of COVID. But there's an ongoing thing with Batwoman and Kryptonite, and I feel like we're seeing the threads of what would have been this crossover. So I'm disappointed that that's not going to happen. But in some ways, it's probably smart not to cross them over in their essentially their first seasons. I know it's Batwoman season 2, but it's really a season 1 for this character. Right. Because that way people who are following it don't have to be following both shows, like give it a little bit of time. But I would be interested to see that. But I felt like overall, I remember so like crystal clear watching the pilot for Lois and Clark in like 1994, and it just made me happy. And this pretty much did the same thing for me. It's not as bright and like donnery as Lois and Clark, of course, but I still feel like you said, Superman, his core is good again, instead of whatever the heck is going on with Henry Cavill. And it feels different while still like giving me what I want in a Superman story. So I know it's just the pilot, but I left it pretty optimistic.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely going to stick with it. So
yeah.
But yeah, we definitely spent a lot of time just like, boy, it's tough raising kids. Try being Superman and raising kids. Oh boy.
I know.
Kids are my second born is my kryptonite, I'll tell you what.
Well, I sort of feel like the way that WandaVision was able to take its time because of like all the goodwill from the MCU. I feel like Superman and Lois, to a lesser degree, but still, I feel like Superman and Lois did have sort of a built-in safety net where people who are fans of these shows are going to give it its time to find it. And that is probably why we saw kind of a slower pilot with less spectacle, because it was like a double-length pilot. And you're right. I mean, we got maybe 5 minutes of Superman, and I feel like that's generous.
It got a series expansion. Like they added new episodes. They renewed a bunch of their other stuff, and then they ordered more episodes of this one for its first season, which is probably a good sign. But also, I do worry about its fate when season 1 is done, because the CW verse had canceled, and it's now Arrow and Supergirl and Black Lightning are done, but also the Snyder cut crap, and then there's talks of like rebooting a Superman movie with
Ta-Nehisi Coates and J.J. Abrams
as doing that. Like DC's notorious, like, well, there can only be one version of a character on at a time, or people get confused. So I get worried about that with this.
Yeah, but I mean, when you're looking at like what they're doing with Flash and stuff, I mean, we've got so many Batman going forward and stuff, and we had Joaquin Phoenix Joker and all that. I mean,
it's probably safer than it used to be. If it was 2001, definitely the show would not be not be.
No, I mean, my son and I were just watching. He and I have been watching through the Batman, and it's now on HBO Max, so we were watching a little bit more. But that just made me think of how Batgirl is introduced on that show a full season before Robin, because Robin couldn't be introduced until the original Teen Titans wrapped, and those shows are just so tonally different, but that was the mindset back then. It was pretty astonishing that we had Smallville and Superman Returns at the same time. But I know what you mean, and especially because they're going so heavy on HBO Max with all the DC stuff they're talking about. But I don't know. I mean, I hope it finds its footings and has a future. And I also hope that it avoids a lot of the traps that the other CW shows tend to fall into.
You don't want this Superman to have an entire team of other superpowered people who all know his secret?
No, I don't.
All right.
I definitely don't. Are you ever? You don't care about Stargirl. Are you ever going to give that one a shot?
Yeah. Stuff just takes time. Okay. There's only so many hours in the day and the week to watch this stuff. I want to watch Stargirl. She's going to be in the next crossover.
Yeah. Oh, and did you see John Wesley Shipp is going to go be Jay Garrick and in that?
Yeah, man. I still get mad about the John Wesley Shipp not showing up in the in Crisis on Earth X, and then having that stupid line, "I wish your parents could be here." It's like he is. He's just in a few towns over.
Right.
Barry saw his dad more often when his dad was in prison.
Definitely.
It's insane.
Ugh. It is insane.
Anyway.
It is insane. Yeah.
Iris is the team leader.
I agree. Well, we started Stargirl, and then it wasn't really. I think maybe I would have. My wife really hated it. If I would have been watching it on my own, I probably would have, stuck with it. So now that it's on HBO Max, I might go back and pick up where I left off. But so many shows, so little time. No, just watching it by myself rather than trying to make it like a group thing.
Yeah.
Like I've been watching Kim's Convenience, which is so funny.
I've been watching Supernatural by myself.
Yeah.
I play Civilization 6, and I put Supernatural on my other monitor, and all of a sudden I've watched 5 episodes.
Wow.
Look out, Dean and
I know.
The other one.
Luckily you've
Sam?
got 290 episodes left to go,
Woo!
so plenty of time.
Yeah.
Plenty of time for that. All right. Now I know you didn't get much reading done this week. Do you have things that are on the top of your list for next time?
Well, tomorrow I can check out Lucifer Volume 5 on Hoopla.
Right.
So there's
It's a new month. It's a new day.
I was saying I don't think I like Star Wars anymore, but I have been kind of itching to reread the Knights of the Old Republic series that they put out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know. It might have been like 2006. It was
graphic
like
novels.
Yeah, it was
novels. Okay.
It was the comic series that Marvel. Well, it was Dark Horse at the time when they rebooted kind of their line. That was when Star Wars Legacy came out. I think it was Star Wars Rebellion, Dark Times, and then KOTOR. It was also the time they were like, let's do a crossover, even though they were all different time zones.
Okay.
So I've been thinking like that one was fun and kind of like continuity free. I might go back and reread that one. I don't even think I ever read the last volume because it was just a bunch of extra stories after the villain had been defeated.
Okay.
We'll see. Yeah.
I speaking of Star Wars, I just read Betrayal, which is it's by Aaron Ellison. It's the first of the Legacy of the Four series. Have you gotten that far in any of his novels? Have you read the
last ones I read were the Jedi Academy stuff?
One thing I have to say about like the new JJ movies versus the expanded universe, because I've always loved the expanded universe. Reading this after the JJ verse, I feel like it's a lot easier to believe that Han and Leia like had a kid, and then they were like, this isn't working, and Han just like kind of went off and they defaulted. Because reading this book, which is like, I don't even remember, 20 years after Return of the Jedi or something like that, and like Han and Leia are married with children, and Luke and Mara Jade are married with children, and they're like next door neighbors and like having breakfast together, and like all the cousins are hanging out. It just feels a little like sitcom-y versus what I feel like kind of a more realistic like dissolution of those relationships that we see in Force Awakens and so on. So that was just something that I wasn't expecting, but it's an interesting book. It starts, I feel like, kind of the downward trajectory of Jason Solo. So I was interested in that. Are you ever going to continue on in that kind of thing, or you don't think you're...
I don't know. It's hard because you got to reconcile the different timelines now.
Yeah, I guess I just don't.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same with the Star Trek post-Nemesis stuff. Now that Picard's come out, a lot of the stuff that's been established in the books for years is just kind of like, So I just kind of look at them separately, but it was just an interesting, like, it's the first time I've read anything that far past it since Force Awakens and stuff have come out. And it just, that's one thing that I got to give to the Force Awakens.
I was thinking about like running a Star Wars game tabletop thing.
Oh.
And so I was trying to I was looking through Wikipedia at the timeline. I'm like, well, where's a spot in Star Wars timeline where there's not a lot of like already predetermined continuity and stuff. There is no such timeline.
After Troy Denning's Crucible, I guess that's the last expanded universe.
You'd have to go so far beyond the movies at this point, because everything prior to that, I could not find
every single day.
Every single day, I was like, oh, maybe I'll like run a game and they run into like the first lightsaber build. No, it's been a thing. It's been a thing that's been done in the games and other things. I'm like, okay, well, maybe about the early Republic. Nope. Every year is marked out on that thing. I'm like, what? Where do people like do this and say like, boy, I could be creative in this setting? Gosh, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Like 4,000 years before the first movie, there's nothing. There's no room for your own crap.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go back to some Captain America and Falcon, and think I'm gonna read that Green Lantern Far Sector by N.K. Jemisin, which is on the app now. I've been wanting to read that, and
Oh
it's finally there.
boy.
So
Yeah, well, I
no,
hope you like it. N.K. Jemisin wrote that Hugo trilogy.
no, I know, but
And
I haven't read it.
everybody
So
loves. I mean, it won
yeah,
3 Hugo Awards in a row. Oh boy.
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good run.
So I don't know. I don't know what I'll be reading. I got the Batman thing that I'm in the middle of is the James Tynion Batman. He took over right after Tom King, and then the next volume after that is Joker War. So I don't know what to go into.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine it will be a bunch of Joker doing serial killer things and brutal murders without actually making any jokes or being funny. Like he'll kill somebody and we're like, oh, looks like I killed somebody. And we're like, yeah, that's funny.
That's so funny.
I tweeted out yesterday. I am just like
everything Nicholson said, everything he said, so funny to me as an adult. So funny.
I just don't.
Who do you trust?
Even like Heath Ledger was funny with like his reactions at stuff. Like when they're like, "You think you can come in here and demand our money from us?" He's like, "Yeah." Like he had this like undercurrent of just like he sees everything as ridiculous, but like. Gosh.
I always felt like the most jokery moment in Dark Knight is when he's walking away in the nurse's uniform and the button doesn't work and he's like, come on. And then he
when he walks into the mobsters too and he's just like, whoo, he, ha, ha, doing like the fake laughs and stuff. But yeah, I mean, how did we get to the point where like Heath Ledger's Joker is the last funny Joker that we had?
Yeah.
I'm just so like over the Joker that's just a serial killer in clown makeup.
You know, speaking of makeup, I've never understood. We were just talking about this on 902 and Here We Go, weirdly, because we were talking about Cesar Romero passing away in the early 90s. But why did they paint Cesar Romero's mustache and not just dye it green? Like, why can't that Joker just have a green mustache, right? I mean, that would have been fun.
Yeah, but then Cesar Romero would have to have dyed his mustache.
He could do something.
Seems like he was calling the shots there.
Probably. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of 90210, since we're done talking comics, because I didn't read any comics, watching Supernatural season 1, and I think it continues for like season 2 and stuff. I've never seen this show before in my life, but man, you can just feel the replacement tracks.
Oh, really?
You don't have to know what they're replacing. You just can. Yeah. There's so much. It just, you know, they're playing like, I'm a freak. Let me out of my cage. Don't let me out of my cage. That'd be bad. You know, and it's just like, okay, so this was supposed to be something. It's
a real song.
It's insane. Yeah. I looked it up. I think it ends that issue like after its first couple seasons because it started on the WB and then became the CW. So I think during the CW years it might be better. I don't know, but gosh, music replacement.
Well, that's
somebody
definitely true of 90210.
Yeah.
I mean, the 90210 in the CW years though has like Train, and I mean it's all sorts of like real licensed music. So
I haven't dared to ever watch like Smallville streaming because like so much of that like first season is just like you can buy today's end credit song at on CD.
Yeah.
And it's just like I can't listen to them and be like, it's sad when kids have to go, you know? So
I just think, you know, people were not thinking about the home video market when they were licensing that music. So until DVDs became a thing, it's like nobody was considering that.
DVD,
so it is.
You could get the DVDs would be right for the most part. At the streaming life is really like wrecked. Mm-hmm. Even watching something like Scrubs. I remember like watching an episode where it was Elliot and JD. They get together for the second time, and there was a song playing. I'm like, well, that's a different song than when I remember this scene. And I remember that scene.
I bet you do.
But yeah, I looked it up, and it had been just such a weird world.
And sometimes it's really specific, you know, like sometimes they'll be quoting song lyrics. There's one 90210 where it's Time of My Life, and they're like doing the moves from that, and the music is totally, it's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, so, I'm sure whoever has to pay for music rights with Scrubs was not happy the one where they did like a Beatles dance number.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure
probably
like,
not.
You stupid, you fools. Yeah.
I haven't. I mean, I was so young when 90210 was first on. I don't remember, but I've heard that there are like full scenes edited out because they just couldn't get around the music.
Oh,
So
geez.
that stinks.
Yeah. Well, it has been hard watching Supernatural, knowing I'm listening to music replacement and not knowing what it's replaced. I told somebody, I was like, oh, I just watched the pilot of Supernatural. They're like, "Carry On My Wayward Son." I'm like, if that's a quote of the song being in the episode, I don't know. I'm going to assume that was at the end credits of the pilot. So sure, "Carry On My Wayward Son." That makes sense.
I remember that show Life on Mars was like a real hallmark in this kind of thing because it was all like Ringo Starr and like tons of Croce, all sorts of popular stuff. And that was the first show that was like, no, from start to finish, every song is going to be locked down for like not streaming, but any kind of future airings or owning opportunities. And that was like the one that was like, no, we're not messing with this. So
I have to imagine now they're just like, you can play whatever you want, just make sure that it's owned by us, Warner Brothers.
Probably. Yeah. I'm sure you're right. All right. Well, hey, did you know that right here on the Radio Meanwhile Network, I'm the co-host of 902 Here We Go, as we were just talking about? I did, yeah. And outside of the Radio Meanwhile Network, I'm the host of How's Things, the podcast and radio show of the David A. Howe Public Library. Got some cool interviews coming up. Great interviews with some sci-fi authors like Jason Fry and Steve Barnes in the last couple of weeks. So check those out, too. What about you, buddy?
I'm the co-host of Previously on X-Men and 90210. No, wait, that's you. 90s music
90s music got me like, that's yours.
Yeah. So 90s music is talking about the song Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
All 4 minutes of that one chorus.
That's a long. Yeah, boy, gun to my head, I couldn't name another lyric from that song.
Yeah. Just what about Breakfast at Tiffany's for 4 minutes?
Yeah.
Doesn't tell a very compelling story. So.
All right, man. And until our next coffee break.
Bye, everybody. From coffee break to you.
Cheers.
No, you can't say cheers. Now we have to cut that out.
Ah.
Yeah. Goodbyes.